Jesus. We're casting aside the most basic and essential premise of civilization, the respect of life, and innocent life at that. Society depends on people all living by the same code of conduct. And in the past, it was largely people would learn that at church, but a smaller and smaller percentage of people are going to church, and some of the churches have even sold their souls to adopting the social justice movement of a huge generation of youngsters seeking to cure their boredom without allowing the trip to end with inconvenient occurrences that, in previous generations, might have signaled the end of youth. It's true, while many of the baby boomers did grow up, many still haven't. Some of them that haven't grown up are running our country today. The quest for a conscience-free life has led them to adopt radical politics that are based on a code of conduct that finds itself fully in disagreement with the biblical code our Creator left us with. The sad thing is, many have had abortions themselves. Personally, I've had more than one, and I can attest that having an abortion changes you. Too often it changes you in ways you don't even be talking about tonight. We all know that Roe v. Wade was decided in 1973, but we need to look at what happened before 1973 to understand what makes a society turn on itself and despise itself so much that it allows its government to legalize the killing of the unborn. Directly before the decision, we had the 1960s. In the 60s, the huge baby boomer generation mixed hormones with psychedelic drugs, rock and roll, rebellion, and a healthy dose of boredom. And as Judge Bork writes, boredom is a much underrated emotion. The young, especially the very intelligent and vigorous, who have not yet found that has taken place. That baby is gone, but the death womb isn't. It's right there with you every minute of your life. Post-abortive syndrome is not a pleasant experience, and for those who haven't accepted God's forgiveness, there is a need to lash out at those who remind you of the horrible thing that happened in your womb. There is sometimes a need to give that experience you've had to others by encouraging them to do the same thing. Misery loves company. We as pro-lifers must be aware of this. We must be sympathetic to this fact. It's easy to despise those that push and encourage abortion, but it's also easy to ignore the fact that you don't know what's going on in their heads. As a person, as a chaplain, I try and keep that in mind. It's easier to reach out to those in need by reminding them that I was once someone who is like they are right now. What they hate more than anything is judgment. But really it's not trying to escape your judgment as it is they're trying to escape their own self-judgment. This is hard to explain to someone who can't figure out how to deal with the emotions they have coming out of them due to an abortion. It was supposed to be no big deal. Before they had it, they were assured it was nothing more than a blob. But afterwards, they realize there's something missing. They can't always figure out what it is, but they do realize that they were